Okay, so my first question is, what is the number one problem facing men today, and what is the number one problem facing women today?
That is a problem. The biggest problem with men today is that I think the world is becoming hyper competitive. Most men are not aware and understanding of how quickly there's going to be a genuine shift in between those who have things and those who do not have things. Not just finances, but also female status, everything else. And it's a status game, right? And it's becoming harder and harder for men to play. Women pretend to give a shit about men. Of course they don't. They give a shit about themselves. A woman, if you ask her what she wants from a man, she's like, I don't want much. I just want to find a nice man who's a millionaire and 6 foot tall and funny and charismatic and interesting and spontaneous and looks after me and doesn't cheat and is funny and good looking and strong. I don't want much. Like they name all this shit that most dudes are never going to have. And it's becoming harder and harder. And you end up with people, top G's who own everything on the planet they could ever possibly wish for, and then you got other guys who have nothing, and there's this large divide. There's no longer any middle ground. You have dudes who can't get any pussy, and then you got dudes who are just blocking girls left, right, and center. And that's what the problem with being a man is today. If you're a man and you think you're something you're not, it is a ticking time bomb until society teaches you a lesson. That's the difference. This is why men in general are more self-accountable, because the men who are not self-accountable get fucked up. So those who are successful are very self-accountable people. They look at themselves and go, okay, the only way I'm going to get and progress further, the reason she left me, the only way I'm going to do better, make more money, et cetera, is I have to change. Most women don't want to do that. They don't sit and think, I have to change. They think, oh, he left me because it's him, and I lost my job because my boss, and this is this because of this. No, you women don't look in the mirror and change a fucking thing. You did the street interview, and you're asking single people, probably young people, probably idiots who know they're on camera talking shit about good head, all this garbage. It's bullshit. What men are interested in life, not just in their relationship, but in their life as a whole, is status. I don't think most people understand, especially women, how competitive the male world is and how competitive it is for status. This is why men do everything they do. Men buy the faster car, not to drive any faster, because of status. It's why we want a bigger house. We don't give a shit where we live. It's because of status. It's why I want to go to the gym and get big and strong, because of status. Everything we do is about status. It's why we want the better jobs. It's why we want more money. It's why I want to be respected. So what's the number one thing we want our female to give us? Status. That's what we want. So she can give us status by being beautiful. That's one thing she can do. But another thing she could do is, if I turn up home and I come home with my boys and she says, I'll cook you all a steak. That's status. That's all my boys going, Ross, you just been out all night and she's here and she's going to cook for all of us and she'll clean up and tidy up. Boom. That's the kind of girl a man's not going to want to lose, because it makes him look good.
Without
That's
complaining.
what men want. Status. Suck a dick, blah, blah, blah. Listen, dick can only be sucked in so many ways. I mean, let's be serious about this.
Have you had the Gok 3000?
No, this is actually a serious point, right? This is a very serious point, because the Western world has collapsed in real time and it's a failed society. And one of the reasons it's a failed society is because of the over-sexualization, especially of females as a whole. If a woman comes up to me and goes, I'll be the best sex you ever had, I am fucking revolted. I don't want the best sex I've ever had. I want you to be pure and a virgin. You should know what sex is. Cook my fucking dinner. Shut up. Don't come and talk to me about fucking sucking dick. It's vile. It's disgusting. I don't want to hear that shit.
Can I say something?
I don't want to hear that shit. What I want is a woman who makes me look good. No woman who's running around talking about sucking dick can make me look good. So I lose interest completely and utterly, and that's the truth. So what she's saying is completely correct. These are old school things, but it's not about the act. Yes, you can order food, of course. It's about the status that comes with it. That's what it's about. The idea that this 1% of men have created this terrible society. Yeah, I talk about that. I talk about the Matrix. I talk about these things. But it's always been this way. It's always been a small elite group of men who are in charge of the world. And unfortunately now, we're fighting battles in different ways. The days of old, a man proved his worth by going to war. Basically, every man at any point in his life was going to end up going to war, and he came back victorious, he came back with honor, he got himself a wife. That's how it worked, right? Now men don't have to go to war as much, depending on where you live in the world, and it's slightly different, and we fight our wars in other ways. And one of the true expressions of testosterone and trying to really express your ability and your combative ability now in the modern world is power and influence. So in the olden days, you'd go to war, you come back with a ribbon. Nowadays, you got X amount of followers, you can move the world with money. I can bend reality with money. Please understand, if I walk into Jimmy Choo, they lock the door. No brokies allowed in. Tate's here, and I buy whatever the fuck I want. There's lines outside because I'm there. I bend the world with money. That's how the wars are now won. So you're talking about high status males, and it's always been that way. Now you have a whole contingent of men who aren't dead. Okay, they didn't die in a ditch, but they're lonely as fuck jerking off. And that's the reality of it. And women don't give a fuck about them. And why should you? I'm not sitting here actually shitting on women in any way. I think women have a biological instinct to a degree to try and find the best mate they can, because it gives them the highest chance of survival in the harsh realities of the world. And if they look at a man who's not capable, they just don't feel an attraction to him. And that's the bottom line of it. And that's why I'm largely misunderstood. I don't blame women for a lot of the problems. Women are guilty of certain things, but I have a massive amount of blame to place on men. because there's so many men who are genuinely incompetent. If I was a chick, I wouldn't fuck these losers either. Like, they're losers. So it's hard out here.
Balance.
It's
I
hard.
love it.
Do you know what I don't understand? Why people are always going for the 1%? All the women want to rush for the 1%. Why don't you just find a regular 9-to-5 person that's going to look after you? You can be his queen. Why can't you just do that? Why is everybody really rushing? I've got a man. We don't go on social media. If it weren't for Pearl, I want no night about social media. 9 to 5. I've got our own property. 32 years. Happy as Larry. What is the problem? It's not old-fashioned. It works.
Women don't want that. So they'll sit there and go, no, I want Chris Brown. And then they'll go try to get Chris Brown. Then Chris Brown will cheat. And they'll be like, I can't believe he cheated. I am devastated. Well, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? If I go to the car garage, right, you have to make a decision what you truly want in your life. If you truly want to just find a man who's going to look after you and take care of you, you're going to be his queen, he's going to be loyal, you can find that all day, but you're going to have to settle to a degree where a lot of women perhaps are not prepared to do that. You see how women act. They'd rather chase a fraction of a real G's time than have 100% of the time of a fucking dude who they don't respect at that level. And it's kind of like going to a car dealership. You walk in there, if you want reliability, you can get a Nissan. But if you want to get a Ferrari, it comes with headaches. It's going to come with problems. So when girls say to me, "Oh, you know what, Andrew, you should be loyal to that," men like me don't have to be, and you know that. So why the fuck are you here trying to tell me what to do? Because you know I don't have to be loyal, and all the girls I'm fucking don't have to be loyal. So why are you sitting there pretending you expected me to be loyal when everyone knew from ground up day one it was never going to ever fucking happen? And you're still here.
I think
you're still texting me.
They're going to be the one that changes you.
Well, no, yeah, of course they are.
That's the biggest mistake that girls make.
So whose fault is this? This is the female decision. They sit there and decide, no, I want this. Cool, then you're going to have to accept he ain't going to be loyal to you. He's barely going to reply to you. That's the game. In the history of humanity, across any culture, any book, any story, any fable, there has never been across the history of humanity any respect put on the name of a promiscuous female ever. Ever. You name the biggest conquerors that you can possibly name from history. Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, all of them. They all had 100 wives, bunch of children, big G, conquered the world. Normal. That is normal evolutionary biology. That's how men are designed to be. There's never been a single female who's been celebrated for her promiscuity ever in history. It's always been frowned upon and disgusting. So yes, we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman cheats on a man. And if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. And I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you why. It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she is fucking people she shouldn't be fucking. There is no way she is sleeping with endless men, and all of them are either high-value men or treating her the way she should be treated. If you find a woman who slept with 50, 100 dudes, she's either fucking dudes which aren't at her level or haven't worked hard enough to try and get the pussy. She was just too drunk to realize he's a loser, plays video games. Or she's fucking a top G who barely texts her back. So either way, she's fucking dudes she shouldn't be fucking, or a guy who's at the level who doesn't give her the right amount of attention. For a woman to find a guy who's truly on a level, who truly treats her the way she should be treated, that's once every couple years, if that. You ain't just gonna go out there fucking a new dude every week and say, yeah, he's worth pussy. Yeah, he treats me good enough to get my pussy, da-da-da. And you know what's funny about the universe? It's actually beautiful about the universe because it's equal and opposite forces. When you devalue yourself, it's kind of like men can smell it on you. They can just look at a bitch and go, oh. And that's the way it works. So you have to be very careful as a female and sit and go, does this man truly deserve to fuck me? And if you think about it, the answer 99% of the time, especially if you're promiscuous, is no. So when a woman is sleeping around with all these men, she's devaluing herself. She's devaluing herself, and the world knows, God knows, the universe knows. When a man does it, he doesn't devalue himself at all. What is the difference between a man, let's say me, I have 4 wives, right? What's the difference between a man having 4 wives and a woman having 4 men?
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time.
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time, and we know who the parents are, right? So
Yes.
let's say you had 4 pregnancies, you'd know who the mother is because she's carrying the baby, and you know who the dad is, top G. If you had a woman with 4 men and she gets pregnant, who's the parents?
What about if the...
No, I'm asking. Do
Okay,
you know?
I ask, what if they're different races? One
Answer
white,
the
one black.
question.
You don't know.
Answer the question.
You don't know. Now, modern science can come along and maybe fix that for you, but that doesn't mean it's not wrong in the eyes of God. The idea of having a family, the idea of a child being born, one of the baselines for a new life to come onto this planet is for at least to understand who the 2 people who made it are, at least. If you have a woman fucking 4 dudes, you don't even know who got her pregnant. If you were to come to me and say, I'm pregnant, but you've been fucked by 4 different dudes, I'd be like, who says it's mine? Why am I looking after you? None of them want to look after her. She will literally perish. This is why in most of the world today, Still today, virginity is so coveted, and throughout all of history, it's been so coveted because that's the only way to ensure paternity. She's a virgin. I know that's my baby. She ain't a virgin. Prove it's mine. Outside of this modern science bullshit, Shaitan, the devil we have here in the West, in most of the world today, without virginity or at least a low body count or at least anti-promiscuity, you can't tell that that's your baby. So it's a completely different thing. You're looking at the idea of a woman being pregnant and coming to a group of men and saying, one of you has to take care of me and put up with me when I'm fat and moody and annoying and I need my bills paid. And all the men are going to sit there and go, no, fuck no, prove it's mine. You can't prove it, bounce. Where it's different. If I get 4 women pregnant, we know the deal. And I don't need no man because I have an OnlyFans and men pay my OnlyFans. And if anyone comes up to me, I'll call a male police officer. I don't need men. Shut up, you fucking idiot. Of course you do. You just named your whole life is based on fucking men. The road you're driving on was paved by a man. The house you're living in was built by a man. The car you're driving was designed by a man. Your whole life depends on men. And the second anything bad were to happen to you, the second you were physically threatened, or times were to get hard, or war were to start, or famine, or riots, the first thing you do is find a big strong man, shit yourself, and throw the feminism out the window. Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing. Then all that crap vanishes. It's garbage. And this is the very interesting thing. I'll make a point here, which is going to get me canceled again, but I don't give a fuck. But this is the point. Feminism in and of itself can't be defended. The point of an idea is that it can be defended by the people who believe in it. This has been the whole point of war since the dawn of time. It doesn't matter if it was the Christians against the Hindus. It doesn't matter if it was the Germans against the French. There were people who had ideas and ideologies, and they're prepared to fight each other to defend their ideology. Feminism is an ideology which cannot be defended by feminists. The only people who could defend feminism are the men who subscribe to the garbage. If all the feminists were to get in a line and say, we want feminism, and the conservative men were to get in a line, you would learn very quickly it's bullshit. I had a friend in Afghanistan when Taliban kicked America out, and he told me the Americans were telling the girls they could go to school. So they built all these girls' schools, and they put the Afghanistani Defense Forces there, and they funded the Afghanistani Defense Forces to protect these schools. You had American satellites, you had night vision goggles. Taliban were afraid to attack. America leaves. Now you have Afghani Defense Forces. They're basically blind. They don't have satellites anymore. Don't have night vision, whatever. So now it's a real war. The men are standing next to this girls' school. The Taliban are coming. You're some dude. You're standing there, and you're looking at this girls' school going, I don't really give a fuck if girls go to school. Bounce. And you didn't fight. So that's why they all gave up and Taliban took over so quickly. And when I said this, the girls like, yeah, they should have fought for us, feminism. Why don't the women fight?
Can I ask?
Oh, wait, the women can't defend their own fucking idea. You need men to defend feminism. The way you get respect as a woman is by being feminine. There's nothing, we can be equal and very, very different. I'm not saying that there's not equality, but you've confused equality with the same. You can be equal with completely different things. You can have a bishop and a knight on a chessboard. They're equal in terms of points, but they do different things, right? A woman can have equal respect to a man if she is very good at being a woman, and a man gets respect for being very good at being a man. When a woman decides she wants to act like a man, or a man wants to act like a woman, that's where all gets fucked up. We try and pretend it's all the same. It's not the same. Men and women are good at different things. We have different strengths, different weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm a woman, I'm good at X, he's a man, he's good at Y. Then we work together as a team, we have a beautiful family, we're happy forever. It's only confused where you have women who sit and go, no, because in the name of equality, we can fight in war. There's no fucking women on the front line in Ukraine. That is psyop bullshit. They put some chick there dancing around doing Pokemon dances to try and convince men to go fucking die in a ditch. It's garbage. If you go to the front line of Ukraine right now, you do not see women in their makeup and their manicures. You see fucking men in the freezing cold dying. You know where the women are? Dubai, chilling. That's where the women are. So to sit and pretend that women are just as capable physically as men is a fucking lie. It's delusion. To say that you're as strong as men is delusion. You are good at other things. You're better than men at a lot of things, but it's not the physical world. And the unfortunate reality about life, this is what we're saying when I was saying earlier that feminism goes out the window when things get hard. The harder the world gets, the closer it gets to the baseline of humanity, the unfortunate baseline of humanity is violence. Yeah. That's what happens if all the electricity were to go out and all the police were to quit, this would become a violent place very quickly, and there would be fucking zero feminists left. Zero. You would all need men. That's the bottom line of reality. That's the bottom line. So the things I say that somehow people believe are controversial are exactly the way the world functioned in like the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. All of the entire period of human history, men had a role of masculinity, women had a role of femininity. We worked as a team. Now the world's come along and they've destroyed and broken everything. And there's this new progressive think and this new generation of women who seem to believe that if we completely fuck it all up, it's going to end up better. And my argument to that is, listen, We went from walking around in fields in small nomadic groups to building cities, to building the pyramids, to going to the moon. We managed to go from a few thousand to billions of people, populate the entire planet, build canals, build skyscrapers, cities. All of this was done based on the back of man being a man, woman being a woman, working together as a family. So, and the point I'm making is now we're entering a world of new think. And that the problem with new think is it's not tested. I don't give a shit what anyone's opinion is. What I can state as a matter of fact is we had 5,000 years of history that tells us how the world works with X and Y together. We're now entering a new paradigm. There's no 5,000 years of history. So whatever you believe about how it's going to work or it's going to be better or worse, whatever, that's just you guessing. Everyone is guessing, right? So we're entering a brand new paradigm and everything's completely fucked up. The point you were making earlier, which is a fantastic one about if I pick a woman who's advertising, et cetera, men always, please keep this in mind, especially if you're a female. People always say, you know, the number of emails I get from girls that say you don't give enough girl game. I'll give you girl game right now. Your man wants status. That's what he wants. You need to find a way to make him look good to the world and to his friends.
So how do you do that?
I'll tell you, one of the ways a man can get status is to get the girl that no one can get. That's a very simple way, right? So
I said not ready to mingle. I did right.
Okay, no, but this is the truth, right? If I date a girl and she's perfect in every way, head to toe, and then I'd say, I met this girl, yeah, she's this. Oh yeah, I took her for a date. Even if you didn't fuck her, did you fuck her? No, I just went for a date. So you went. The attraction goes from this to zero, done. And it may not for some men, because some men haven't got choices. But men like me who genuinely have unlimited options, we want complete exclusivity. That's what we're looking for because that gives status. That's what you're looking for. So you have to be very careful as a female with all of your actions, all of your interactions with your boyfriend or when you're looking for a boyfriend, et cetera, and say, am I going to make my man look better by doing X or look worse? Simple things. I've had endless arguments about girls' nights out, right? Oh, you're insecure. It's not about insecure. I don't give a fuck if no man talks to you all night long. I don't care if you're going out and you're going to an all-girl club. I don't care. I know that when my boys say, oh, all the girls are going out, and I say, not my girl, she stays home. I look good. That's it. She stays home. She doesn't go out. She doesn't want to go out without me. That's status. It's not about the night out. It's about the status of being the man in the house. That's what a man wants. He wants respect. He wants to be the man of the house. I say she stays home. She stays home. Big G.
I just know from like my experience, other women that I've met as well, it's like the reason for even like relationships why they're not lasting is because people don't want to put up with the disrespect. And like even when you were talking about like, oh, it's okay for me to cheat but not for you, my thing is like, why not have transparency and have it be polygamous, polyamorous, whatever works for you? That's like to me where it loses me with the traditional stuff.
I get it.
It's
All
like,
right.
why can't we have transparency?
okay.
And if I sign up for that, cool.
So how does it? No man in a million years. Let's all be realistic, right? No man in a million years is going to meet a girl he likes and go, I want to be polyamorous. Like, come on, that's gay. Let's cut this bullshit. So let's be realistic. How does a man show love to a woman? Tell me.
Exclusivity.
Wrong. That is how
Time, resources,
Wrong.
and something else.
Time, resources. So
Yeah.
that's a good way to start. So sexual exclusivity is how a female shows primarily that she's interested in a man. He's the only man who has sexual access to me because I can get pregnant, and this man is the only man who can do it. That's how it's done. A man, yes, I'm not saying all men can cheat. I'm not saying all men should cheat. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if I truly love a woman, she won't sit there and go, he shows me his love because he doesn't fuck anyone else. She'll sit there and go, he shows me his love because my bills are paid, I'm in a Bentley, I fly private, I go to Dubai anytime I want, I have a Chanel bag. And I'm not talking about just money. I'm talking about resource and a lifestyle as a whole. This is not just me. This is the world and most of the world today. If you go to Moscow and you find a big G, a rich guy, right? He has his wife, she's pushing a Bentley, she has the kids, she's living in a mansion, whatever. When he goes to the club with his boys, you think he ain't with 19-year-old strippers? Of course he fucking is.
Can I ask
But she's
you-
just like, whatever, don't care. I'm the one who has the money. Don't give a shit. So you have to sit there, and to a point, you have to sit and analyze the difference when you're saying disrespect. If you're gonna go through life as a woman and say, I only care about the sexual exclusivity of my man, then what you're gonna end up doing is having a bunch of failed relationships and fucking loads of dudes. There has to get a point where you go, you know what, this guy ticks so many boxes. Once a year, twice a year, he's out with his boys, does some dumb shit. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't notice because my bills are paid, I'm looked after, I can tell he cares about me. If I have a problem, he's gonna fix it. He's ticked so many. That's the smart female move, as opposed to go, I don't care how good he is to me. He fucked that bitch once, so I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna get another man who I don't love who'll fuck another bitch anyway, and then I'll get another man who I don't love who'll fuck another bitch. So end the cycle of dumb shit. All right. So first things first, I'm a man of my word. I don't even think I'm a liar. So here's your Clementine.
Thank you.
And he peeled it. What a gentleman.
you.
I'm a gentleman. Right. So obviously, I'm not saying blatantly disrespect your woman. right? She's your woman. She's your queen. She's the most important thing in the world to you. She needs to be treated in a way that she feels that, right? But it's unfortunate because I keep tying back to this baseline point. But the reason I keep going back to this baseline point is to try and explain to everybody at home how simple the world can be if you go back to the baselines of it. Why do men cheat? Most women don't know. You'll see them all the time. Why do men cheat? Oh, because men are just stupid. And why do men fuck girls uglier than their main chick? Why do men do all this stuff?
They had
Do you
a
know
moment.
why? I'll tell you why. Let's go back to the first thing I've been saying this whole time. Status. Yeah, that's my chick. She's home. Took this one home. Yeah, I got that one. She's chasing me.
That's
Status,
dead.
status. But it's stupid to females. I get it. But that's the male world because sexual access is an easy indicator of status. So that's one of the reasons they do it, right? So you have to go back into the baseline of why men even cheat in the first place. I'm telling you, if you're a woman, the smartest thing you can do is look after your man, make him not want to cheat, be perfect. But there's going to be a time across a 20-year marriage you might just need to be a little bit blind, a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Just don't look at his phone.
So
and
what
you'll be cool. You'll be cool. Just make sure the bills are paid. He does his job as the man.
What
Now,
if
I'm
you
not
can
saying-
pay your own bills, though?
But this is it. We'll talk about that in a second. But I'm not saying allow this for some fucking Joe Schmo. I'm not saying let some fucking loser pick you up, lock you down, and go cheat
That's
on you.
right.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying if he's a G and he's doing enough of his other jobs. As for you saying, what if you can pay your own bills? Then what's the reality you face? Just like I described earlier, I'm going to decide that the thing that I prioritize above everything, above his resource, above the amount he cares for me, you'll see men cheat on a woman and then cry his eyes out trying to get that woman back. He still loves you. It's not the same as if you cheated. He loves you with all his heart. He'd die for you. He'd take a bullet for you, and he'd still fuck that bitch. Doesn't matter. It's a different game for men, right? So you're sitting there going, well, I'm going to prioritize his sexual exclusivity over all of his other attributes. You're just going to end up having endless failed relationships, fucking too many dudes. And
Yeah.
then what's going to happen is your psychology is going to break because females don't like to accept the fact that if you sleep with enough men and you get rid of the stigma around a new dick, your instant answer is constantly new dick. Ah, he didn't text me today. Fuck it. Someone else. Ah, he was rude to me. Fuck it. I'll cheat. Ah, he was this. I'll get a new boyfriend. And then you end up just jumping on cock all day and you're fucking done. You need to, the reality is you have to come to a point where you get a guy and he ticks boxes and you're like, you know what, I'm wifey, I got the Bentley, he does whatever he does, but my bills are
Question:
paid.
do you think that men ever fall in love with side chicks?
Very good question. And this is a long and in-depth answer, but it's a good question. Let me peel my clementine. But no, but it's a good question. Where is too far? I think publicly disrespecting is too far. So like you'll notice, let's take the Moscow G, all right? Let's take an oligarch, a billionaire from Moscow. He has his wife, he has the girls he's in the club with. The girls he's in the club with wouldn't fucking dare message his wife. They wouldn't dare step out of line. Like they know their place, right? So if there's a hierarchy and they know their place, that's one way of doing it. Spending money on a girl, certainly, yeah, because men show love primarily through our hard work, not just through our resource, but through our hard work. If you take a man who's not particularly rich, he shows his wife love by getting up every day, going to work 9 to 5, working his ass off and paying those bills. That's how he shows love. That's why he does it for his wife and his children. Most men are out here working bullshit jobs, carrying trash. They're doing that to show love. So giving money, yeah, that would be a far more scary indicator than just sex. Let me give you all an example. I don't know if you all know my history, but I used to run a webcam business a long time ago. Don't want to talk about it, blah, blah, blah. But I had a bunch of girls who used to sit online and talk to guys, and they had laptops, right? This is a long time ago. And I used to sit and say to some of the webcam girls, I'd say, this man who is sitting in and logging in every night and sending you money every day and telling you he's obsessed with you from the other side of the world and missing out on time with his family to sit here and talk to you and send you money. That is more cheating than if he just went out and banged something. If he went out and banged something and came home, then done. But he's sitting here giving you his time, his money, his affection. That's cheating for a man. For a man to sit there and give money and time away, right? Yeah. So you have to stop this idea of sexual exclusivity. Yes, that's for females. That's how females show their love to men. It's not how high status, at least, males show their love to females. And anyone who wants to disagree with me, call me wrong, call me misogynist, whatever bullshit, look at a history book. Every king, every sultan, every conqueror, every emperor, every knight, all of them had maidens, wives, all of them. That's history.
What level of G do you have to be allowed to cheat?
Well,
I wanna know.
It's not about even being allowed to cheat. I'm not even saying that. And it also depends on the partner you're with. I'm not trying to sit here and advocate for men to run around and fuck a bunch of women. I'm not saying that.
That's
I'm
what you're doing.
No, but I'm not.
No. Let him explain. Let him land. Let him land. It's about to come. Now, our sister, let him land.
No, but
Go
I'm
on,
not.
then.
I'm not. What I'm actually trying to do is describe the baseline unfortunate realities of human dynamics. And I'm trying to explain now to the world that any woman can get a man who will not cheat on her if she's prepared to sacrifice a bunch of other things, perhaps, right? In the olden days, it was different. The world was a different place. It was a completely different place, and it was better. Now it's all fucked up. It's fucked up on every level. And men, especially the high status men, most of them have struggled so hard to become high status. They've been through so much shit to get where they are. It's like telling him, if you climb this mountain, you can go to a candy store. And he climbs to the top of the mountain, and the second he's in the candy store, after one piece of candy, that bitch is saying, no more candy. He's like, no, I just climbed this mountain. I just got rich. I just went through X, Y, Z. I finally got here. I'm finally in the candy store. Now you're telling me I can only have one piece of candy?
Okay.
What man's going to agree to that?
Do you think that men owe a woman loyalty if she was there from the beginning?
Absolutely. They absolutely owe that woman loyalty.
Oh, sorry, sexual loyalty. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Sexual exclusivity is different. Sexual exclusivity and loyalty are completely disconnected for males. Nobody wants to talk about this, but it's the unfortunate reality. It's true. I'm telling you, you can get a man, he can go on a holiday, can fuck some stripper, can come home, and you can lie detector test him. Do you love your wife? Would you die for your wife? Would you take a bullet for your wife? He'll pass the lie detector test. He loves her with all his heart. He'd do anything for her. It's just pussy. It's not a big deal. Imagine men will run around and fuck anything, and women are the ones who say yes or no. You are the gatekeepers that have all the power. And this is what's actually truly interesting about the sexual marketplace. Because whenever women go, there's not enough good men, then why are you fucking, of course, why would they be good if you don't make them be good? You're fucking losers.
That's true.
That's a good point.
So women, so you're talking about, I'm saying that, a man at a certain level can't do certain things. If you were with Joe Schmo and he wasn't treating you the way you believe Joe Schmo should treat you, then why are you with him?
Leave. Sis, leave.
Like women have the gatekeeping. So if you get Joe Schmo and he treats you like you're his queen and treats you perfect, good. If you get a fucking guy at the absolute upper echelons of value and you still aren't happy with what he's giving you, then leave. Women are the gatekeepers. You women actually have all of the power. This is what's beautiful about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Women are constantly complaining. You have all the power. You're the ones who get to choose. Do you know who you should be mad at for all this shit? I'll tell you who you should be mad at. Do you know who threw away all the female power in the sexual marketplace? Promiscuous females. Because now you got chicks who will bang anybody without trying. So why should a dude get up and try?
No,
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, let me make this clear.
Go on, sir.
Do you have any idea how hard it is to actually be, no bullshit, a man? And I say this and women go, oh yeah, dude, as soon as most women encounter any kind of problem, the first thing they do is turn to a man. Their man, their dad, the mechanic, the police, a man. If you actually put a woman in front of a problem and go, no men, they're like, oh, whoa, fuck. It's a mental breakdown. Men, day after day, especially if you're a high-level man, let me make it something clear from my life. I'll talk from personal experience. I'm not just looking after me. I'm not just looking after my chick. I'm the guy in about 300 people's phone books that they call when anything big goes wrong. You get arrested in Russia, you need extraction from Ukraine, you need $1 million, whatever it is, Kazakhstan, abduction, they call me. I'm the first phone call. I'm fixing 400 different lives. I'm a problem solver. Chicks can't fix fucking any of this shit, right? This is how hard it is to be a man. And it's amazing because society expects it of you, but so do women. If you had a man, be honest, you had a man and you went to your man and said, oh, I've got this problem. I can't fix this. It's broken. The car tire's broken. And he went, I don't know. You would dry up. Like, you'd be like, well, fucking, what the fucking point are you? That's the truth. You could sit here and go, oh, we'd call a mechanic. No, you wouldn't. You'd look at your man and go, what do you mean you can't fix it?
I'll do it
And this is
myself.
what
Waste, man.
and this is what she's saying about your man will get up and go, and you know what's beautiful about masculinity? A bunch of times a man will go up and he doesn't have a clue how to fix it himself. But he'll go, don't worry, baby, okay. And he'll stand up with no money and no clue. And he'll go out there and fucking try and find a way because as a man, you need to be useful. It is so difficult to be a man. You have no idea the amount of pressure that we're under from society and from the women we even want to associate with. On a whole, it's difficult. So you have to keep all these things in mind. It's hard. The point I'm trying to make is that what I actually think happens, especially in the modern world, because the modern world's all fucked up and nothing's the way it's supposed to be. The traditional life path of a female is she's 17, she's 18, she's 19, and her value is massively inflated. And I don't blame her. Of course it's massively inflated. Imagine being 19 years old, have achieved exactly fucking zero in your life, knowing nothing. You put makeup on and sports stars, billionaires, actors, the most important famous people on the planet, the richest men on the planet are begging for your attention. The ego you're going to develop, let's all be honest, right? The ego you're going to develop is going to be monu-fucking-mental. I'm special, I'm so gorgeous, all this bullshit, right? And then what happens as they grow older, as new generations come along, because the truth is most women are at their peak attraction, let's say in their early 20s. As they grow older, what women become is far more fearful of competition. This is why you'll see a woman who's a bit older go, oh, you know, I really want monogamy. What she's scared of is her dude getting a 21-year-old. That's what she's fucking scared of. She may not know it. She may not say it. But basically, that's what the truth is, because she knows a 21-year-old is going to be more desirable, higher status, more fertile. That's what she's scared of.
Cheating is bad when you're 30 or 27.
So no, but it's not about that. I'm telling you the shift in the female mentality, because when a female is 20, she doesn't give a fuck about any of this. She doesn't want to find the nice man. Now she's trying to, like you're saying, chasing a lifestyle, chasing Mr. Promiscuous, chasing Mr. Famous. Doesn't give a shit until she starts getting scared. Oh shit. Oh, my age begins with 3 now. And then they change, their mentality changes. It's a fear element. That's the reality. And it's a biological fear element. I'll give you an example of it. You know what's amazing about humans? We are still very primal. When men like these two and me, when we walk through the mall, people just move. It's like you can sense when the big animals turn up, right? It's something amazing about humans. If you have a very attractive 45-year-old woman, she's gorgeous, but a gorgeous 19-year-old walks in, look at that 45-year-old woman's face. She's furious. She fucking hates her. She just doesn't like her for no reason. Yeah. Because women understand, unfortunately, but your age is a massive indicator in your value. In an inverse way to men are more valuable as we get older. Every woman knows that. Every woman will sit here and go, yeah, I know a man who's older than me. Of course. But if I say it the other way around, I'm misogynistic. It's just the reality of the world. So then we have to go into the other point. The point is this. When you were at your peak value, you had zero interest in monogamy. But then you find a man who's 35 at his peak value. He's finally struggled and worked, because when he was 19, no girl spoke to him. When he was 23, he was broke. When he was 24, he had no life experience. When he was 25, he couldn't fuck. When he was 20, whatever. He finally gets to the point where he's now at his peak value. Him at 35 is you when you were 19. And then you're sitting there saying to him, no, you should be monogamous. It's like, well, you fucking weren't. You did whatever you wanted in your peak. Now I'm finally got there. And I had to work for my shit. God gave you. God and L'Oreal gave you. I had to fucking struggle. I had to go through hell to get on this yacht. You got on the yacht with an Instagram DM. I had to buy it. And now you're telling me I need to fucking settle down and behave and grow up?
We hear that women should wait till they're married to have sex. But at the same time, we also hear from the men that they don't want to get married anymore. So what do we do with that?
The problem is that there's zero advantage to marriage in the Western world for a man. There is zero statistical advantage. If you use your mind, if you use your head instead of your heart, and you look at the advantages to getting married, there are absolutely and utterly none. Because this new idea of new age feminism just basically destroys all men in the idea, in the event of her leaving. And it's very common that women leave, right? Let's stop the man versus woman attack, et cetera, et cetera. Life's difficult for everybody. We all have different challenges, different things to go through. But if a woman marries a man and it goes wrong, she has emotional heartbreak. Fine. But if a man marries a woman and it goes wrong, he has emotional heartbreak. Plus, everything he has ever worked for is ripped out from underneath him. And he has to give that chick money forever.
In some places, you don't even have to be married.
Exactly.
That's why the men don't want to live with the women either.
That's right. So when you make these rules and these laws, right, under the guise of feminism and equality, all this garbage, all you're doing is scaring men away from commitment. And then you have to add in the other hidden element, and the other hidden element is what I said earlier, is whose fault a lot of this is promiscuous women, right? Mm-hmm. So when society's broken down, if all women got together and said, we'll only have sex after marriage, guess what men would do? Get married. Mm-hmm. But you don't, right? So now you're in Miami. I go to Miami. I can fuck anything in the club. I don't have to marry any of them. If I marry them, I get wrecked. So, let's all use our brains here. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to be like, well, no. Bounce. See ya. No. So men have been scared away from the idea of marriage, and a lot of that is the fault of this new bullshit law and this new feminism and this new crap. They don't give men any tactical advantage. And I'm talking about small things. A man's not even allowed to be a man in his own house. You know, in England, you will get accused of emotional abuse. I can marry a woman, not lay a hand on her. I can just raise my voice at her. That's emotional abuse. I can raise my voice at her because she's going out drinking with dudes. She can go out drinking 6 nights a week with men. And I can say, what the fuck, you're my wife, sit down. She can call the cops, call me emotionally abusive. I get arrested now. Now there's a court case against me. I have to go to court and defend myself. She'll divorce me, take my house. I have to sell my car because she's drinking vodka with fucking God knows who.
But you notice that
it's insanity.
What do you think of child support?
And that's another interesting thing, because a lot of these arguments, it goes beyond man and woman, and it goes into the larger sphere as a whole, right? Because we talked earlier about war and how a lot of men used to die, and that doesn't happen anymore. So what you used to have in societies, and I'm not saying I have all the answers, I'm just commenting, right? What you used to have in societies is a bunch of men would die at war because men have more dangerous lives than women. There'd be a bunch more women than men. The top G's would impregnate a bunch of women, and the top G's could take care of the women, and that'd be it, et cetera, et cetera. That's now changed, right? So a lot of the reason that monogamy is pushed is because it's good for society. And it is good for society. It's good for society as a whole to have a man, a woman, a family, they're together, the man provides for the woman, et cetera. The government doesn't want to pay for all these kids. If you don't have child support, who's paying for these kids? The government does it. It breaks down, right? So that's why child support is enforced in many parts of the world. In certain other parts of the world, child support isn't enforced because they have religious beliefs or genuine family beliefs that keep the families together. But in the Western world, now you need child support because you've broken things down to the point where men don't want to be married to chicks. Chicks don't want to listen to the man. The man can't even be the man in his own household. He can't even feel respected where he goes. His woman gives him no status. And now he doesn't want to fucking deal with her anymore. So how do you get that kid paid for? Well, then tell the man, or you go to jail. And you just come along with the fucking long arm of the law and you fuck him. And so, yeah, it's difficult. It's hard to answer. Yeah, but it's hard to answer. The true answer to all of it is an idealistic answer. I don't like to think idealistically and talk idealistically, but it's the truth. The true answer to it is to instill in the man a sense of duty in which he wants to take care of his woman regardless, because that's his child. But you will do that. I'll tell you how you do that. You do that by inspiring out of the man by being a very good woman. So I'll give you an example. If I had a child with a woman, and she was always a great woman to me. She never cheated on me. She was a good woman to me. And I was running around being whatever. And she's like, look, I just can't put up with you anymore. You're top G. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm going to look after your kid. You can see him anytime you want. I care about you. Please don't leave me in poverty. I'd say, cool. What's truly interesting is if you go to other countries, and I'm talking about civilized countries, right? If you go to Poland or Czech Republic or whatever, these countries, which are in many metrics more civilized than the West, they're safer to live in, they're cleaner, etc. There's no child support laws. So if you have a divorce, the man just takes care of the woman because that's his kid and that's just what he's supposed to do and that's just it. So what you're saying is, you're right about the man having the morality instilled inside of them. And my point is that the reason a lot of this doesn't exist, the reason men don't have morality installed in them, is not just about the individual case of the man. It's about society as a whole. It's about women as a whole, men as a whole, the dating game as a whole, the life he's living as a whole. And this is the world we live in. This is why I was talking about how dangerous new think is, because now we have this new think, this new world, and we're living in this new world. And the truth is, as a man, now the game has changed. In the game of chess, sometimes it's not about winning. It's about making sure you don't lose. If you can not lose, if you can not blunder any pieces and protect your king long enough, you'll win the game. And there's a lot of men who are now like, okay, how do I not lose? Well, you know what? I become fucking ruthless. That's how I don't lose. I get all my sex because the women are promiscuous. I get laid as much as I want. I don't let anyone fucking tie me into anything dumb. Any bitch wants to get fresh to me or fucking talk to another dude, I cut her off financially. And you just get ruthless so you don't lose the game. But that's because the game's been rigged against men. So the harder you rig the game against us, the more ruthless we're going to have to be to compete. There's a lot of countries in the world where there is no child support system and it functions, right? So you have to, if you want to pay attention to actually, learn about society as a whole, it's very interesting to study all the different societies and economies in which there is no child support and children don't die. I mean, people get divorced and they still find a way to function. And it's interesting, and it's a very long conversation because it extrapolates about how the whole society works as a whole. That's the first point. Second thing, I'll actually sit here and argue the point that I don't think any man really ever wants to get married. I think that women convince him to get married. And I think that any woman who is genuinely serious about convincing her man to get married could do it. I don't think, in the modern world at least, men wake up and go, can't wait to get married. But what they do is they get a chick who's so good and ticks so many boxes and makes them so happy. And she'll sit there and say, you know what? It would mean the world to me. Please. And he'll go, oh, for fuck's sake. All right, then. And that's what happens. So I still think you can convince 99.9% of men to marry you. The point I was making is, the society isn't convincing the man to marry you. It's not like it used to be where the man believed he had to be married. Society's done the opposite. So it's your job as a woman to make it clear to him that it is worthwhile. Once again, how would you convince a man it's worthwhile for him to say, that's my wife? Status. That's how you do it. This is a misunderstood hack to men as a whole, is status. If you can convince that man, but by marrying you, his status will increase amongst his peers, he's going to do it. And for anyone out here who disagrees with me, the things men do for status, let's actually analyze how baseline men are. What is status? Status is respect, right? Men kill over respect. Gangs kill each other over respect. A man will smash another man's face in for insulting him. We will die for respect and status. You tell me we won't get married? We'll die for we'll go to the front line of a war, and the only reason we don't walk away and abandon our post as artillery shells rain is because we're afraid of being mocked for being a coward. We'll die for status. So status is what it's all about. It's what it's always been about. If you wanted a man to marry you, status. And it's the same thing with nearly anything you want to do with a man. I don't know anything about your personal life. I'll be honest. I don't know, right? But I'll tell you this now. If this dude, this NBA player, believed that he would be higher respected amongst his peers and amongst society for taking care of you properly, that's what he'd fucking do. He doesn't feel that because either he's rolling with the wrong people or you've pissed him off in a way or something public's happened. I don't have a clue. But something's happened where he feels like if I take care of her, I'll look like a bitch. That's what he's scared of. If it was inversed, he had no problem giving you money because that's how men function. I'm telling you right now, as a man, I'm telling you what I would do. If I had a chick with a woman, right? And she went on the news, top G's this and fucking, like I said, I have no idea what you've done, but I'm just giving my personal made up scenario.
Oh, yeah.
She would go on the news, top G's this, and he fucking lied to me. He's a piece of shit, da da da. And then I bought her a Bentley. Women's be like, well, look, she insults top G, she insults him, and he's a simp, da da da. But if she was like, you know what, he's misunderstood, he's a good guy, it just didn't work out, boom, 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 I'd bet she'd be in a mansion. Right? And would that be me being a nice guy, caring about her? Or let's be honest, would it be me being a selfish piece of shit dude and saying, what makes me look better? Men are all about status. It's how we function. It's how we function as a whole. So society, this is where it extrapolates and gets interesting. When society with this new think has destroyed all of the baseline humanities and baseline understandings of how men interact with women. And now all the things we previously understood about what made a good man, what made a good woman, and how we should act together and how we should interact has been erased. Of course men are acting like dickheads, and of course women are doing wrong things because nothing makes sense anymore. You've taken the chessboard and moved all the fucking pieces around. Nobody gets it. It should be very simple. I'm a man. I work hard. I take care of my woman. I'm the man of the house. She treats me with respect. She would never insult me or raise her voice to me in front of other people. She has a problem. She brings it to me in private. We act as a team. We work together. If we break up, she was a good woman to me. She fulfilled her roles the best she possibly could. I'm still a man. I'm going to take care of her. But all of that is gone. All of it's gone. All of it. And it's gone because of all the ideas we were discussing earlier. The feminism, the new age bullshit, the fucking dudes left and right and center. All these things, all these baseline things have eroded society to the point where now you have men ignoring their paternal instinct. You have men who will sit there and go, that's my child, but I fuck her. That's actually a massive observation to make about how fucked up society is. And it shouldn't be that way because men in a lot of the world are not like that. And so you have to look at all these small things, the small things we talk about. It's no big deal. She goes on boats in Miami. It's no big deal. It is a big deal because now that dude ain't going to want to fucking pay child support because you were on those fucking boats with the other team.
And the thing is that
do you think that men...
That was well said, Sagittarius.
Thank you very much.
Do you think that men marry for like high status families? Like I'm thinking of like Ivanka Trump. Like would someone marry a girl for like status in that way?
Well, that is one of the most, I mean, if you look at arranged marriages, it's all for status, right? That's an example. But men primarily marry for, I'd argue that men, and I say this about men, but women do the same thing, right? Women love the idea of getting status from a man. Mm-hmm. Women love the idea, and this is where it actually gets a bit messy. The waters get muddy because women love the idea of bragging about the man they're with, but they can only brag about the man they're with if other women want that man. So you're saying you love women who get cheated, women love getting cheated on. That's not true. But women do not like men that other women don't want. Mm-hmm. If you were to say, look, I got my man, he's perfect, he's rich, he da-da-da-da-da, and every girl in the room would go, I would never touch him. She'd be like, oh, shit. Oh, I don't want him either then. What the fuck
but
is
you
this?
know, can I add on top of that?
But it's true, right? No. Women want men that all the women want. You cannot sit like women do and go, I want the McLaren that's reliable like the Nissan. Well, guess fucking what? That's not real. So you have to choose.
Can I ask you something, Mr. Tate? Can I ask you something? Years ago, right, do you think it makes a difference? Because years ago, if you want to meet a man, you go out there and you actually talk. But now you meet a guy, he can go and check out your IG and see what you're all about. Don't you think that by them being able to look and see what you're all about, that makes a difference to how they perceive you?
100%. I think society is fundamentally and utterly broken. I think the way that men and women interact is broken. I think that men are broken. I think that women are broken. I think everything is completely fucked, genuinely. And this is where we go into the small things. We're talking about status. You're right about IG. If I go on a date with a girl and I look at her Instagram page, I'm sitting there thinking, does this make me look good or bad? Yes, I want her to be hot. Yes, I want her to have followers. Yes, I want everyone chasing her. But what's that caption about fucking city life? And what's this about? What's that? That's not, nah, that puts me off, right? So it's interesting. What's also interesting is the majority of women don't have a clue in the modern world what men find attractive. So we said earlier in the very beginning of this podcast about men who want their dick sucked and all this bullshit. Men don't, that's not attractive to men. We don't want any of that. Most women, if you were to say, how do you attract a man? They wouldn't have a Scooby-Doo. They wouldn't have an idea. One of the important things for being a man, especially in a relationship, is we want to be our woman. If I have a woman and I love her, I want to be her portal to the world. I want her to experience things through me and see things through me. So for that, I need a degree of innocence and purity for her. I want to be the first person to put her on a private jet. I want her to get on the jet and go, wow, I did it. Oh, you took me. It's like you wouldn't want to give someone a Christmas present if they'd had 10 presents better than you beforehand. Yeah, would you? It's like, well, duh. Yeah. So as a woman, what makes you attractive to a man, to a degree, is your innocence and your purity. This is very important. And it can go down to very basic, simple things. I'll tell you, if I walk in a club, do you know who the hottest girl in the club? It's the girl who isn't dancing, isn't twerking on a fucking stage, not surrounded by dudes. When girls want male attention in a club, they start drinking, twerking. That is the most revolting, haram bullshit. I may want to fuck you, but I don't want to be with you. If you show me a girl sitting in the corner, shy, I'm like, good, she hasn't experienced too much life. I can show her things. And also, not just show her things. This is a very important point that I get attacked by the Matrix for because they completely misunderstand me on purpose. As a man, if I'm out here struggling and leading and trying to lead my household, I also want a woman who shares my values. I want, to a degree, to educate my woman and show her things and for her to agree with me. Like you said earlier, looking for a male role model. You want to be a role model to your woman. If she's too experienced with life, it's difficult to be a role model. If she's sitting there shy and quiet, you can come along and say, no, you know what? Don't take the fucking vaccine. Listen to me. And you can be a role model for her. You can't do that for a woman who knows too fucking much, knows too many dudes, been too many places. So it's this degree of purity that we're looking for that's super important.
What about intellect, though? I'm curious. If you said if she's like done too many things, that's like bad. Right?
Yes, correct.
So I'm not even talking sexually, like been on a private jet. Yeah. I'm curious because I lived
But how do you get on a private jet without sucking dick?
Oh, I was just curious because my dad's part of he's top 1% in terms of income. And I was just curious, is it different if you did stuff with your dad?
Well, no, that's fine.
No, not like that. Not sexual. That's no, I meant
she said private jet.
Yeah, private.
I know what you're saying. Well, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But my point is that we're looking for a true degree of innocence inside of females, and it's that innocence that's going to make us feel protective over them, and that the protectiveness is going to make us be good men.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when we're looking at society as a whole and how broken it is, I understand that men have a massive role to play, women have a massive role to play, but a lot of the paternal instincts and instinctual behaviors of men, because the instinctual behavior of man is to die for his woman. Mm-hmm. Like someone comes to try and take her, pull a sword, die to defend her, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going through life and you find that men don't really feel about you that way, that's because a lot of their instinct is being eroded by the fact that you, like you said, they look through your IG or they look through your life and you've lived so much life and they just feel like, there's nothing new I can bring to this girl's reality.
You could be on a private jet 10 times, but it's going to be special because it's with you.
Yeah. Not for him, it isn't. Not for him. For him, it's special because it's your first time. Because men, maybe it's a biological predisposition. Maybe it's just the way we're designed. But let's tie it back to sex. Virginity, first time. It's not that you've done it. It's that you've done it with the first time with me. That's what is important. It's experience as a whole that men find. It's just the truth. Call me misogynistic, cancel me, whatever. I'm telling the truth, I always have done. It's experience of life as a whole that men, to a degree, find off-putting. We don't want a woman who's had a bunch of trauma, had a bunch of experiences, done a bunch of shit, knows a bunch of people, been a bunch of places. That's the absolute opposite of what we want. We want the complete polar opposite of that. And what's funny is women want men who have done those things. I'll tell you right now, go out there and find a virgin woman and say, do you want to have your first boyfriend? Do you want to lose your virginity to a virgin man or a man
virgin hunk.
Or a man who's had a couple girls? She'll choose a dude with experience as a virgin herself. Experience is always coveted and respected in men. It's the opposite in women.
That's true.
So,
That's true,
so
to be fair.
it's true. So we have to look at how fucked up the world is. Women, especially between their 18 and 28, or 18 and 25, let's say, are living these crazy lifestyles, these crazy lives with the most important people, richest people on the planet, doing everything that can be experienced under the sun. And then at 29, 30, some dude's expected to come along, know he's second place to X, Y, Z, and be happy with that. And not allow it to hurt his ego, and sit there and pick it up and put a fucking brave face on. It kills him every day inside. That's the reality. He's in love with you, and you've been fucking where with fucking who? I can't afford a jet. I'm Joe Schmo. That fucking breaks their hearts.
Do you think that hoes can ever be turned into housewives?
Okay, I'll answer that question, and the answer is actually, truthfully, yes. Which I know a lot of people are confused by. They can. If you're a good enough, high enough level man, you absolutely can turn a hoe into a housewife. But why the fuck would you? Because you don't have to. A man like me, I could, but I'm not low on options, so I would never decide to do that. If you're a billionaire, could you? You can find an old rusty car and rebuild it, or you can just buy a new one, right? So it's not about what could be done; it's about what will be done. So once women hit a certain status of man, I don't think women are stupid. I actually argue the fact that women have a beautiful intuition. I think that women, to a degree, their intuition is truly almost psychic. The number of times I've come home and she's like, "You were cheating," and I was like, "How the fuck does she know I'm fucking cheating?" Like, you have intuition and it's real. You guys are smart, right? And if they get to a certain echelon of man, they're not going to go anywhere because there's nowhere else to go. They're going to get to a guy eventually. They're going to stop at the buck and go, "You know what? Where am I going to surpass this specimen? So I'm just going to behave for him." So you could turn a hoe into a housewife that way. But why would a man at that level want to do that?
Why do some guys at certain, and this is obviously a celebrity example, but I'm sure we can all think of examples in like day-to-day life where a guy with a lot of options does pick a hoe and like wife her, like for example, Kim and Kanye. Because Kanye clearly has options,
She
right?
did not want to be a housewife.
No,
she was a project.
Okay, I understand. I'm just asking because some guys do pick.
Yeah, they do, and it's a really good point. And I have nothing bad to say about Kanye. In fact, I think a lot of the work he's doing now in terms of attacking the Matrix is important. But I can give you a generalized answer. But it's a man who is not true to his masculine imperative, which is going to fall for the propaganda machine, which is being purported upon him, who's going to believe that all the crap that is being told by society, like a female's past doesn't matter and all this shit doesn't matter. This is what's interesting in the fight against the Matrix, because people always say to me, "Andrew, why do you come here and say all these things?" They're literally trying to destroy your life for what you say. And the truth is, as a man, you have two choices. You either fight against the programming and the brainwashing they're trying to put inside of all of our minds, or you end up fighting against yourself. If you're a man and you sit down and you believe the garbage that society's telling you about how society functions between men and women, you're going to end up getting fucking wrecked like these dudes do. They sit there and go, "Just because she's fucked everyone doesn't mean she'll do it again. Just because," and they sit there like dummies and they get fucking wrecked, right? You have to sit there as a man and go, "No, I don't give a shit what society's telling me. I understand something baseline about humanity," right? And that's why they make these poor choices. And a lot of men do make these poor choices, but it's only in the West. It's only in the West where this propaganda machine exists. You will not find a Russian billionaire doing this dumb shit. You will not find a Chinese billionaire doing this dumb shit. You do not go to Saudi and find a sheikh doing this dumb shit. None of it. You only find it in the West.
Do you think the values of the West are spreading?
What values?
So
name a value of the West.
Sorry.
Name a value.
Sorry, I might have misspoke.
Ideals.
I mean, like the ideas of the West. Like I've just gotten I get messages from people like from all over, and like in places like India, I've heard feminism is spreading there. Like I've heard that. Do you not find that to be true?
So firstly, the West has no value. The only thing the West seems to defend fervently is LGBT. I'm not saying anything about it. I'm not. I'm just saying it's the only thing that they'll stand up and fight for. I don't know why. It's weird. Like this, they don't care about anything else. They don't care about children going without child support. They don't care about people dying in wars. They don't care about our parents being in parenting homes. They don't care about crime. They don't care about no one being able to pay their energy bills. They don't care about nothing. But they give a shit for some reason about this one thing, and they'll fucking throw the flag all around the world.
Surrounded around sex.
That's all they care about. It's fucking strange. So that's the first thing about the values of the West. Second thing, the harder society and the harder the life is as a whole, the longer it's going to take for feminism to spread. Feminism only exists in a vacuum of an easy life. If you're living in a society like India where life is hard, feminism disappears because the harder life is, the closer people naturally revert to their gender roles. If you got a bunch of 10 men, 10 women, stranded them on a desert island, and they had to survive, very quickly the men would do men shit and the women would do women shit. There'd be very little talk about feminism and equality, and all this shit would fucking vanish when shit hits the fan, right? So in countries where life is harder, feminism can't take hold because feminism can only exist in a vacuum of a very privileged life. I'm sure there's some kid in India who didn't get laid off some chick and he's complaining she's a feminist. There's a bunch of dumb shit, right? But I think the world is going to get a lot harder. I think the world is cyclical. I think it's been easy for a while. I think hard times are coming. And when hard times come, people are going to naturally revert to what gives them the highest chance of survival, which is gender roles, right? I have the best chance of survival being a man, and a woman has the best chance of survival being my woman. That's how she's going to function.
Do you think women typically are happier as housewives rather than a career?
Well,
Depends on the career.
no. The
Depends
answer
on the man.
The answer is absolutely and utterly yes, because giving life is the most beautiful thing a female can do. That's what you've evolved to do. That's the thing that men cannot do. I think that women who focus on having children and do their best to be good mothers in the end are the happiest females on the planet.
Being a mother and being a housewife is kind of different, though.
Okay, no, but it's essentially the same thing. If you're a housewife long enough, I'm going to assume you're going to end up having children. And I think that the sooner a woman has children, the better. If she can find a good man and have a child, that's a fantastic thing. I think it's a beautiful thing. And I don't see the point in a woman slaving away for a corporation that doesn't care about her as opposed to slaving away for her own flesh and blood. I think that's a complete waste of a life. I think if men are already doing that, why would you want to go along and do that
Because
as well?
a career is not just slaving away for a corporation. A career can involve a million different things.
Well, that's exactly what a career is. It's slaving away for a
Well-
corporation that doesn't care about you. And I understand you have to pay the bills, and I understand you don't want to be completely sufficient. You want to be self-sufficient. You don't want to be dependent on a man. I understand all that. But in an idealistic scenario, in the vacuum of ideology, if you could sit and be a woman and focus on having children or focus on doing a job, I think on a long enough time scale, you're going to be much happier with your progeny as
So-
opposed to working a job.
Lisa, can you help me out? I'm trying to find a husband, the kind of beast that can handle a woman like me.
Well, this is another point, right? And I'm only answering generally, right? Because this is the first time I've met all of you ladies. You've all been very polite to me. You've all been very nice. I'm just talking generally. And I'm going to answer it based on your last sentence. Your last sentence was handle a woman like me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the average man's life, like I just discussed earlier, how difficult it is, how competitive he has to be, and how many problems he has to fix. Do you think he wants to handle any woman?
Okay, so
Do you, like the idea of any degree of problem? It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. Like the point of having a woman as a man, for me at least, is for her to be my peace and quiet. My life is stress. You see me, I'm rolling around with fucking security teams, and I got problems, and they're after me. And when I come home to my chick, the last thing I want to do is have to handle anything. I want her to just sit the fuck down and her make me happy. She used to be my positive energy. She used to be my sunshine in the rainstorm.
Okay.
So you're talking about him handle you. I don't know. I can't answer the question exactly. But if you're sitting there constantly arguing over small points or correcting him, or he's probably thinking, this is a battle. I don't have the energy for another fight. Like
Okay,
you're never going to submit to a man you don't respect. And respect is ultimately important because you're not going to sleep with a man you don't respect. You're not going to be attracted to a man you don't respect. Respect is the bottom line of it. And the man has a job to do. He has a duty to do to be worthy of respect. But this all goes back into a very interesting point. Some of the points I've kind of mentioned earlier. If I was a woman, if I was a chick, the chance of me ending up in a relationship with a man I don't respect is 0%. I don't understand how you girls end up. Well, I do understand how you girls end up here. You end up here because of feminism, promiscuity, promises that running around taking dick is fine, dumb shit, stupid decisions. I'm independent, so it doesn't matter that he's a dummy. Bunch of garbage. When you should be waking up going, you know what? I'm going to be extremely selective, and I'm going to take my time and be very, very smart because you're the gatekeeper. By the time you're in a relationship with somebody, you should have immense respect for that man. Absolute immense respect. You shouldn't be able to get there any other way. The only reason you got there is because you've been tricked by society and lied to and told a bunch of fucking bullshit. So, so you're talking about submission and respect. Yeah, it'll come when you meet the right man, naturally. And this is another point I make because I have a lot of men message me. I trust, guys, please understand, I'm the most Googled man on the planet. I have 100,000 emails a day from people, and I get dudes email me, how do I get my woman to submit? And I can't reply to all the emails, but if I ever read them, I'm like, bro, you're a fucking dork. Why would she reply to you? Why would she submit to you? You're a fucking nerd. That's the truth. I'm not out here saying submit to all men. Men are the boss. I'm saying, listen, there's natural balance in the universe. When you meet a G, I've never had trouble with a woman obeying me. She just wants to. It's natural for our dynamic. If she didn't want to obey me, we wouldn't even get to the point of a relationship. If she didn't feel like she wanted to listen to me, we would have never got to where we want to get. It just doesn't work. That shit only happens when the female's fucking giving up sex too easy and the dude's just picking up easy pussy and they end up in some bullshit relationship. They don't even like each other. That's dumb shit. That's dumb shit, right? But I don't have any of these problems in my life. And if you're a dude at home and you're watching this and you go, I want my woman to submit, and she doesn't, guess what? She doesn't respect you. And guess whose fault that is a lot of the time? Your fault. That is your fault as a man.
Tell
It is.
Yes.
No, it is.
Yes.
No.
That's what you guys need to damn here. Tell him, please.
But it's not
Tell him.
about blaming men and women because everyone has a problem. But then there's also men who are worthy of respect who women refuse to respect
True.
because of society.
Tell the
so
sisters
there's two sides to it, right? But a lot of it is if you're a capable enough man and you're brilliant enough, then the female has no choice. But it's very interesting. This goes back into a point I made earlier about how important it is for us men to find women who we don't believe have had a lot of life experience and look like they are. Because I got attacked. I'm going to make this point right now. I got attacked when the Matrix attacked me and fucking lied about me. They said that men are interested in women who are younger because they're more programmable and that they're trying to make out that I'm making out that men are out here trying to get women and fucking do bad things to them. No, what I'm saying is, if you find a woman who's younger and been through less things, less trauma, less relationships, less headache, she's lived less life, your ideals, if you ask any woman who loves her man, what's your favorite song? His favorite song. Who do you vote for? Who he votes for. What's your favorite car? His car. That's how it happens when a woman loves a man. And that makes the man feel good, right? If she's been through too much shit, then that's a lot harder to pull off. So that link is very important for men and women. But so yeah, the Matrix attacked me with that. But it's very, very interesting. You have to understand all these small sub-dynamics and why things are happening and why the world is the way it is. And the baseline of it is that everything's fucked. Men aren't acting like men and women are acting like women, and it's all messed up. I have a bunch of cars. I love cars. I have 32 cars. My favorite car is X. I pick up a chick. This is my, what's your favorite car? This one. I like that one. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever, no big deal. But the agreeableness is ultra attractive. It depends what the woman wants to do, right? If I was a woman, and let's say I'm 22 years old, and I meet a billionaire, and it's my goal to marry this man, and I go to his house, and I say, wow, you have so many cars. What's your favorite car? This one. Really? I thought that one too. It looks so good. Why that one? Because this. Oh, really? Okay, I'll try and remember that. That's how you get the dude, right? You don't get the dude by going, well, that one's a better color. You're a dickhead. It may be small things. It may be tiny things, but men are ultra interested in things like agreeableness. We're ultra interested in the idea of a woman absorbing our worldviews. We're ultra interested. We are. That's what we're looking for. I am talking about how, as a female, to be as attractive as possible to men. Now, I'm not saying you can't get a man if you say another car. I'm saying, how do you be as attractive as possible? Because because you also don't understand how men think. It's different if you come to my house and choose to like another one of my cars. But what if I only have one car? And now you say, well, no, I'll pick you up in my BMW. Oh, yeah, it's nice. I prefer Mercedes. You know what a man thinks the second you say that? Who picked you up in a Merc? That's the first thing that goes through his fucking mind. How do you know about Mercedes? A lot of women talk about being submissive, but they're submissive when it suits them. That's not submission. So she wanted to go to the concert. He said no. She trusts him as a man. She didn't go. Absolute respect for that. That's exactly what my woman would have done. Exactly the same thing. Women go, I'm submissive. You're submissive when he's buying you shit in bed and you're submissive. But the second he says something you don't like, you instantly turn off the submission and run your fucking mouth. That's not submissive. That's manipulation. That's bullshit. So that's the first thing. The second thing is responsibility and authority are linked. And as a man, if I'm going to be responsible for a woman, I need a degree of authority over her. This is the reality of it. If I'm going to be responsible for paying your bills, and responsible for your personal safety, and responsible for your personal development, and responsible for fixing the life fitting, and responsible for everything that I'm supposed to do as a man, I need a degree of authority to sometimes come along and say X, Y, Z and be obeyed. If I'm going to have a ship, if you have a ship, the reason the captain has to go down with the ship is because he is responsible for everything that happens on that ship. And because of that, he has authority. If he yells at the shipmates and they all ignore him, then he can't be considered responsible for the problems on the ship, which means he doesn't have to die with it. If you want a man invested in a relationship, he needs to be responsible for you, but he needs authority over you. And you know what? The smartest thing you can do as a woman is sit and go, you know what? Go into this concert. It's 2 hours. But this is going to piss him off, and it's going to be a splinter in his mind for years. Is this really worth it? Now, I'm not saying let some man abuse you, let some man treat you like shit, but if you have a good man who's good to you 99% of the time and he comes along and he really cares about something, you should give him that grace and give him that, you know what, he's the man, he said it, boom, done. Because if something happened to you at that concert, if
I
your
told
bag,
you
if your
so.
bag was snatched, if you got fucking robbed, if someone tried to punch you, if someone grabbed you, who would you call? The reason she decided not to go is because this is obviously not a regular occurrence, right? So he had a reason and she trusts his judgment. Let me give you girls a scenario. Let's imagine I'm with a chick, whatever. She has a concert. I say, I don't want you to go. And she replies like you, why can't I go? And I say, got a bad feeling. Don't go.
A guy doesn't want to explain like every decision he makes.
And I don't want to
men,
submit
but
to every
a lot
decision
of times,
he
a lot of
makes.
times, like men think things through a lot like more than we realize, and so he's already thought about it. He's already made his decision. It's a headache to him when every time he makes a decision, he has to explain it to you.
That's
But
right. And if you
even
trust that man,
understand-
if you trust that man and you've been with him as long as Auntie's been with her man, and he says something with the kind of relationship they have and the respect they have for each other, of course she's gonna be like, "Oh right, well, cool, done." That's trust, and that's trust. And
I wasn't
that's-
happy.
of course, and also that's a really good point about submission, because submission is largely misunderstood. Like, I can tell you a million stories. I've had girls who are like, "Yeah, you're the man, you're in charge, and yeah, no problem." Da-da. Yeah, she's cool, and she's cool on the jet, she's cool in Dubai, she's cool in the restaurants, she's cool in the 5-star, she's cool in the Lambo. But the second I say something that she half doesn't like, then she's like, "Well, you know what?" Then she's a feminist, right? So women do this very well. A lot of women flip flop. Like if you trust your man and you really want to be with him and you really want to submit to him, there's going to be times you're going to submit in ways you don't like. That's the whole point of it. Every man will give you a life. It's just a matter of whether you're happy with
Not
the life
every
that
man can afford it, though.
No, exactly. Every man will give you a life. It's just a matter of whether you're happy with the life that man is capable of giving. And this goes back into the earlier points we were saying. You can find a good man who will work his ass off and give you the best life he can possibly give you every ounce of strength inside of him. He'll give you all he has. You can get that. But if you're going to wake up and go, "No, I don't want that life. I want that life." Well, then that comes with problems.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
this is the cognitive dissonance
Agreed.
that most females operate under, where they sit and go, "I want that life, but I want him to act like that guy. I want the Nissan and the McLaren." You can't have both.
What about
you
a
need
project?
to decide. And there becomes a degree of female maturity. As you said earlier, you get to a point where you're like, you know what? Maybe all that glitz and glam and bullshit isn't worth
It's
it.
not worth it.
You grow up, right?
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. And you make a different decision. And I'm saying that a lot of women get to that point. The problem is, in the modern world, the shit women did before they got to that point, from 19 to 24, pisses the man off to the point where he's never going to be as good as he could be. It's different in your world, right? You met a man, you stayed with that man, ding. I know plenty of people. First man, high school sweethearts. The world was different only 40, 50 years ago. The second man, they've been married forever, 50-year marriages. All that shit's gone. And then we have to tie back into all the other sub-points I've made. Into you've had a very fun life at your peak sexual value from 19 to 24, running around doing X, Y, Z. Now you're with this guy who can't give you the life he knows you've already lived. Part of him feels inferior. His status is damaged because all the shit you did is on Instagram and he ain't the one who gave it to you. And now you're expecting a whole bunch of crap out of him. And now when he comes and works his ass off and manages to save up and buy a BMW and picks you up, "Hey, I got a BMW," you go, "Yeah, I like Mercedes." And this is the point you're missing. It's not about the fucking car. It's about something larger than that. It's about making him feel like he's a man again and that he's in charge.
A
You're
woman
sitting
shouldn't
here
have to make
arguing,
a man
saying-
feel like
you're
a
sitting here
man.
going, I'm an autonomous female. I can fucking
Yeah.
like that. But what are you doing? You're damaging the psyche of the man who's trying to love you. Is it worth it for a
But what
fucking
do you
car
mean by
brand?
love?
It gets to a point where you have to sit and analyze the scenario you're in and try and realize and pick your battles. And I'm telling you, you may not realize it, but a man does a whole bunch of shit for you that you don't know. He's watching the shows you want to watch. He's listening to you talk gossip about the girls at work. He's fucking going, "Yeah, I like that dress, that dress." He doesn't give a fuck about any of it. He's doing it for you.
See, that's the
but the
pretty
second
thing
it's
there.
back the other
Yeah.
way, you
Nah.
have some fucking issue with
He's
autonomy.
right.
It's
He's
bullshit.
right. Listen, yeah, he's right because
it's bullshit.
women talk nonsense for a long
We-
time.
I
And they
listen
say
to
like, "Yeah, babe,
nonsense.
you're right. Yeah, babe, can't believe she did that. It's true, babe. Oh yeah, that show is good. Yeah, babe. Yeah, it's true."
No, but if you go into a man's room when he's playing video games and he's playing video games and you say, "All you do is play video games," and you nag him, he'll play video games. If you walk in there and go, "You know what? You're so smart. I've seen you do so many amazing things and you said so many amazing things. Why do you waste your time playing video games? You could show me so much." Now you're going to get him off the fucking console.
Yeah.
I know it's an ego play. I know your old girls are like, why should I have to do that? Da-da. There's a lot of things
Because it tells you look pretty in the morning.
It's because you win. It's because in the end you win. You talk about why should I have to do that? Well, why should you have to work hard in the gym to get six pack? Because you win. That's the game. It's actually, men are so simple. We are so simple. And the truth is, women know it. This is what's amazing. Women pretend they're confused. You're not confused. You know. You're just egos are in the way and society's telling you something else. And you just fucking refuse to be agreeable, nice people.
So where the fuck do we go from here? So do I play the shame game where everybody walks away a fucking loser? Because I can do that. I've beat myself up my entire life for every decision I've ever made. Right? It got me nowhere.
No.
So I value myself. I see the world differently through a series of events. Right? So what the fuck comes next? Because that's where I'm confused, right? I'm seen as used goods. You're seen as a high value man.
Yep.
So if you're me, then what? What's next?
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's interesting you make that observation, and you are correct. That's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. It's unfair, I guess. The world's not fair, but that's the difference between the masculine and the feminine. Men are respected for going through things and surviving, and women are the complete opposite. They're shamed for going through things and surviving. If you look at women love scars on men for a reason. He's gone through something. They're
war wounds.
Yeah, they're war. Men don't want a chick covered in scars. I'll say this right now, that a woman, the more trauma she goes through, the more masculine she naturally becomes. And if you were to give me my ideal woman, I would not have wanted her to have a hard life and a bunch of trauma. I like the idea of her having a soft feminine life and being a soft person, and I can take care of her and protect her. Whereas as a man, to be a good man, you need to have been through a bunch of trauma, because if you haven't been through trauma as a man, you're a weakling. You have to have been through a bunch of shit. So the masculine and the feminine is a very interesting point there. As for, I don't know your history, I don't know the past, but we can just talk in generalizations in regards
People
to
like me, I guess, under the same umbrella. It doesn't have to be personal.
I don't know any of it, but we'll give generalizations. One of the main reasons that men are scared of a female with history is because it makes the man insecure. And scared dogs bite. So this is why men will snap or get angry quick, or they'll bring up your if you get in an argument with him, he'll bring up your history, whatever. But a lot of it is insecurity, and it's not insecurity because the man is insecure. The women, the female paradigm in society convinces men, any man who says anything, you're insecure. It's not insecure in that way. It's insecure in a very realistic, logical way. Like I was saying earlier, she's had a lot of life experience. Let's be honest. Am I the richest guy she's ever had? No. Am I the most famous guy she's ever had? No. Am I the best looking guy she's ever had? No. Like, what's keeping her here? And then part of it comes down to, well, am I second place? If she could do better, would she do better? Like, there's a whole bunch of insecurity involved. And that's where tiny things, like I know it sounds like dumb shit, tiny things about the favorite car brand become more important than ever, right? It's your job as a woman, regardless of how much sexual history you've had or what guy you're with, etc. It's your job as a woman to make your man feel secure in the fact and make him feel like a man, like Auntie was saying, make him feel like the man no matter what he does, so that he feels like you really truly believe he's the best choice for you on the planet. That's your job to do. Now, if you've had a checkered past, that's perhaps more difficult. You need to be more tactful with it, more tactical about it. But you have to achieve the same result. You have to do the exact same thing, right? So, yeah. It's easy for me if I get a 21-year-old virgin from some village in Slovakia and I'm multimillionaire Andrew Tate. Of course, it's a very easy. She's never had better. She'll never get better. She's never been anywhere. Boom, boom, easy one, right? But like you said, the world's not so idealistic. The reality is that people have had relationships, et cetera, et cetera. But a man is happiest in the relationship when he feels like man of the house and when he truly feels like you believe he's the best man that you could possibly ever get and have ever gotten. Because a man is jealous. I'll tell you something. I used to say this to girls as like a joke. And I used to say, truth in jest. I used to say, no, but I say it's a joke. So you cheated on me before I met you. And she'd be like, what do you mean? I didn't even know you. It's like, yeah, you fucked that guy before I even knew you. You cheated on me. And they used to laugh, whatever. But that's how men think. That's the male mind. Like, I love you. And you've been fucked by who? But I didn't know you. I don't care if you knew me. You should have waited. What do you mean you didn't? But that's the male mind. So he is in competition with all of your exes and all of your lifestyle and all the things you've done permanently. And it's down to you as a woman to sit there and go, how do I make him secure in himself and secure in his masculinity and make him believe that investing in me is still worthwhile because I still truly value him? I think that regardless of whether like we're talking about different positions. I compare everything to chess. I know it's annoying. We're looking at different positions on the chessboard, but the rules are still the same, right?
Okay.
No matter how bad your position is or how good your position is, you're still trying to achieve the same objectives. And you want the man to get high status, and you want the man to feel secure in himself. And I think it's very difficult. I can only talk from the male perspective because I am a man. It is very difficult if I were to meet a woman who I liked very much, but she had X whatever, past whatever. My concerns would be, how do I know that I'm still the number one? How do I know I'm most important in her life, especially if I don't measure up in certain key metrics? And two, the second thing that's most scary for men is we understand that men are constantly after what we have. Like, your inboxes are all full. Like, they may not be with guys you want to reply to, but guys are still trying to get it. That's the male life. The male life is people are trying to take everything from me. And that's very scary, and you have to make your man really believe like that's impossible. If a man truly believes that nobody can take you from him, he's going to love you in a different way. You can give me 2 carbon copies of the same chick, but one I think might cheat in the right circumstances, and one I know no matter what would never leave me. The love I'll feel for this one is a different planet to the love I feel for this one, even though they're the same person, right? Because that's every man's biggest fear, is a woman cheating or leaving, because there's something visceral and something different about it. I know I talk things and I say men can do things and women can't and all this stuff, but like, if a woman cheats on a man, that hurts the man at a level that it doesn't hurt the woman if the man cheats on her. It's different. It's different biologically. It's different evolutionarily. Like, that's what men used to fight and die over. You talk to my chick. You look at my
cut
chick.
his dick off.
Yeah, it's like you demasculinize him on every level. Like, and this is why you see these TikToks, right? You see these TikToks. Me and my man went on a break, got back together. He fucked 20 girls, and now he's crying because I went on a date. Yes, completely yes. Because the damage level is different. It's just a different thing. So you have to understand the paradigms. You have to understand to play the game, and that's how you make men happy. And I know very well how. I like to believe that I would know very well how to make a woman happy. And I know, and whether I do that or not is a conscious decision. And that's where you get to a certain level of grandmastery, where if I get a woman, I will literally decide out of 10, how happy do I want her? Does she deserve to be happy 10? Or should I keep her like crying half the time? That it's very conscious. And women don't think that way. But I'm saying, if you're a cunning woman, you can be like that. You could be a bit more like, you know what? I want him infatuated with me. This guy ain't worth the time. That guy I want. And then when you're going to do that, just like the game of chess, if you play chess, it's not big moves that make you lose. It's small positional plays. It's that time you argued about your favorite car. It's the time you disagreed with him about the favorite band. It's the dumb shit that adds up. Whereas really, truthfully, if you're truly smart about the game, you can get him to a point after a few months where he's like, she's my soulmate. She loves everything I love. We think the same. Our hearts are connected. Boom. And then you're safe. Just don't fuck it up from there. We don't want you to be complete robots. We're not saying we can't have a joke with you. We can't say we can't have a laugh with you. We're not saying you can't have a personality. But when it comes to things like agreement, there is not a single man in the world who's going to say, she's too agreeable. She just agrees with me on it. She agrees with me on all the important things in my life. She's too agreeable. I want someone else. Fuck no. You're completely and utterly wrong on that point. It's a huge point. This idea that, I understand if you're a complete doormat and you set no standards, men might walk all over you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about agreeability and agreeableness as a whole. Men love the idea of an agreeable woman because it gives status, and it makes the man feel like he's a teacher, and it makes the man feel in charge, and it satisfies his ego. And to you, they may be small, little, tiny points, but to him, they're a big deal. If I were to sit, I'm telling you right now, if I were to sit with one of my chicks or whatever, or my chick, and I'll just sit in the Lambo and say, Lambo's the best car of all of them. I prefer the Lambo. And she goes, I don't like that one. I'm like, listen, I bought them all, and I fucking said this is the best one. Shut up. It would annoy me because that's my reality. I want her to become part of my reality. It's the thing. And you talk about truth. It's interesting because the truth of your heart and the truth of your soul is to be happy. That's truth. Truth is for you to end up happy. Now, if you have to sit there and agree on a especially on a subject you don't give a fuck about, right? If it's something you care about and you are very knowledgeable about, if it's ancient Roman history and you have a degree in ancient Rome, then fine, argue the point. But if it's cars or something you don't even give a shit about,
Make it easy.
You're missing the chance to get points on the scoreboard, an easy free throw, and you're just fucking it up, going, why? What? The truth is just play the game and win. That's the truth.
Andrew could be the best female dating.
The reason a lot of women don't truly understand a lot of things about relationships and how it works with men, etc., is because men will lie to you. Men lie for the same reason you wear makeup, because men fall in love with what they see. Men fall in love with what they see, and women fall in love with what they hear. So we will lie to you. So you'll go on a date with a guy, and you'll sit there and say, "I don't listen to no, I'm independent, da da da." And what's that man gonna say?
Oh, I love that.
That's exactly the kind of woman I want. Come suck this. It's a fucking lie. That is not what he wants. It's not what he wants. I'm telling you the
he wants
truth
for
of what
now.
he wants. Yeah, he can't be bothered to argue with you at dinner. Because he doesn't, and you know what? Most men aren't smooth enough to do it. I can sit with a chick and disagree with her and be funny enough and smart enough and charismatic enough and I'm high status enough and she respects me enough to listen. But if I'm just some normal dude and I start arguing with a chick, she's going to bounce on the dinner and say, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
See ya. So most dudes' mating strategy is just pure agreement. Yeah. Anything to get the puss because they're fucking dorks. That's fine. That's the truth, right? A real G will sit there and say, "What do you mean? I don't want to hear this shit." I'm telling you the baseline of how men truly function. If I'm expected to fight and die to protect you, because that's what is expected of me by society and of you. You may think you don't expect that of me, but if we're walking down through London in the middle of the night and two guys come up with machetes, you're going to hide behind me, knowing I'm going to die because I can't win this fight. I'm expected to die to protect you. Well, then I expect you to agree with me. I'm not here to fucking die for somebody who disagrees with me on everything. That's not what I'm here to fucking... If I have that obligation to die on the spot for you, you have the obligation to pretend you like BMWs. So do your fucking part and shut up. Every relationship that's happy, regardless of the socioeconomic scale, regardless of how rich or poor they are, regardless of how famous they are, regardless of how whatever. In every relationship where people are truly happy, pay attention. The man is in charge. He's the top G of that house. His woman makes him feel that way. She respects him for what he does, and they are happy. We're talking about me out here in the world, social media, whatever. It doesn't matter. Every man wants to be the man of his household, the king of his castle. Every single happy relationship is the same. I genuinely implore you to name a happy relationship where the woman's in charge. Name one. You can't. They end up broken up. She leaves him. Whatever. Name a happy relationship where the woman doesn't blindly say, "Okay, I won't go to that concert." Name one. There is only one framework in which people are happy, with the man in charge, the woman trusts and respects him enough to let him be in charge, and they're a happy couple in relationship. Any other type of relationship is a time bomb to the end. So if you want a happy relationship, that's what you should be aiming for. You need to be perspicacious enough and think about these things and sit and go, "Well, that's the only way relationships work. So I need to build it that way."
I think
instead of coming along and believing you're going to reinvent the wheel. To be fair, I do think there is a lot of angry, bitter men which are attracted to it. And those are the ones that will leave these stupid comments. My point was my point is that they're already being punished by God and by society, so don't worry about it. My point is that if a woman doesn't act correctly, she doesn't feel the true sting of punishment. Not in her prime years. She may feel it later, but in her prime years, it doesn't fucking even matter, which is why they do it. Whereas if a man doesn't have his shit in order, trust me, he knows very well because his realities sucks. And that's why he's sending you DMs, because he's lonely. Because if he had a life, he wouldn't bother, right? So there's that part of it. It does attract a lot of angry, bitter people, but I think that's because life's very difficult as a man, like we said earlier, and some of them end up angry and bitter. The answer to all things, I believe, whether you're a man or you're a woman, to try and heal all rifts between the genders, I think whether you're a man or you're a woman, the answer to all things in life is to take absolute and utter self-accountability for all the good and all the bad. You must look at yourself and realize that everything good that happened in your life is your fault, and everything bad that happens in your life is completely your fault. And with that, having that high degree of absolute accountability, it doesn't matter. Even if it rains outside, I blame myself because I didn't have to be in London, right? I could have stayed in Dubai and it wouldn't have rained. So I'm responsible for absolutely everything. And if you do that, you pay attention to things and you try your very best to mitigate the negative circumstances and work your hardest, you're going to have a pretty good life. I just want to finish by saying that I believe that men and women are best as a team. I don't think any woman will be truly happy without a man, and I certainly know that no man will be happy without a woman. I think it's absolutely beautiful when we work as couples and we create families and we stick to our strengths. When men stick to what they're good at and a woman sticks to what they're good at, that makes them the most powerful team on the planet. And the world we're living in now, we have societal pressures and propagandas which are trying very hard to divide and split the genders. But truthfully, the power and the beauty of the universe relies on us working together. So it's been very nice speaking to you, ladies. I'm only upset that you ran out of clementines and I'm stuck with limes.
I was going to say, give this man an orange. And these are my limes, so you can
There's
keep
melon
them.
out there.
Oh, okay, we got melon. But yeah, all in all, I think it's good, and I also think that discussion is very, very important. And I think that a lot of these issues are delicate and they're nuanced, and people listening to conversations like these and hearing the different points of view and understanding each other is a fantastic way to progress. And we're entering brand new territory, and it's never been done before. And perhaps you can call me old-fashioned. I don't think it's going to be as good as it was in the olden days, but we're going to find out. So interesting. Yeah, my Instagram. Oh wait, I'm banned. My YouTube. I'm banned. My Facebook banned. I've got MySpace. Anyone got MySpace?
No, you.
Tom hasn't banned me. I'm on MySpace. Find me on MySpace. No.
You know, Rumble.
I'm on Rumble. Yeah, I was about to say. I'm on Rumble, which is better than YouTube in every way. Sorry, YouTube. Rumble.com/Tate Speech, and the website is CobraTate.com. But most people tell me, listen, I can't avoid your face on Instagram or TikTok anyway, so it doesn't matter if I'm banned because I'm still around. But CobraTate.com. I recommend to people, if you like what I say, I have a free email list. Sign up to the free email list. I send an email every single day about different topics. Some are for the guys, some are for the girls, but they're all on there.